This looks like an octopus, but a few seconds later it can flatten its body and move like a fish, spread its arms like a lionfish, or hide most of them and resemble a banded sea snake. This is the mimic octopus, an animal so strange that it is often said to imitate more than 15 different species, but when we look at the original scientific observations, that number becomes much less certain. And something even stranger appears. This octopus may change its appearance depending on what is threatening it. So how many animals can it really imitate? How does it transform so quickly, and does it somehow know which disguise to use? The mimic octopus is a species called Octopus mimicus, and it lives in shallow tropical waters across parts of the Indo-Pacific. Unlike many octopuses that spend much of their time around rocks and coral, this one is often found on open, sandy, or muddy seafloors where there are far fewer places to hide. It is active during the day and moves across these exposed areas, searching for small fish and crustaceans hidden in the sediment. That lifestyle creates a problem. On an open seafloor, a soft-bodied octopus can be extremely visible to predators. Normal camouflage still helps, but this animal appears to have taken deception much further. Instead of only trying to disappear into the background, it can sometimes make itself look like something completely different. So how can one animal look so different from one moment to the next? The mimic octopus does not actually transform into another species. Instead, it combines several abilities at the same time. Specialized cells in its skin can rapidly change color and pattern, while muscles alter the texture of the skin and the shape of the body. Its arms can be stretched out, pulled close together, or hidden beneath the body to create completely different silhouettes. And because an octopus has no rigid skeleton, it can reshape itself far more dramatically than most animals. But appearance is only part of the trick. The way it moves also changes. A flat body drifting across the sand can resemble a flatfish, while long spread arms can create the outline of a lionfish. So the illusion comes from color, shape, and movement working together. The first disguise is also one of the clearest. When the mimic octopus imitates a flatfish, it pulls its arms close together, flattens its body, and changes the way it moves across the seafloor. Instead of crawling like a typical octopus, it begins to glide with a smooth, undulating motion that looks surprisingly similar to a swimming sole. Its dark and light bands help complete the illusion. This behavior was observed repeatedly in the original scientific study, which is why flatfish mimicry is considered one of the best supported examples. And what makes it impressive is that the octopus is not copying just one feature. It changes its shape, pattern, and movement at the same time. From a distance, the result can look much more like a flat fish moving above the sand than an octopus. The second disguise looks completely different. Instead of pulling its arms together, the mimic octopus spreads them wide around its body. The long, striped arms create a silhouette that can resemble the extended fin rays of a lionfish. This resemblance may be useful because lionfish are protected by venomous spines, and many predators avoid getting too close to them. The mimic octopus does not have those spines, but looking similar may still be enough to make an attacker hesitate. Lionfish mimicry was also one of the 3 forms that researchers identified with the most confidence. But the octopus does not need to create a perfect copy. A predator may only have a moment to decide whether something is safe to attack. In that situation, the stripes, long arms, and familiar outline may be enough to send the wrong message. The third disguise is probably the most interesting because it may depend on the situation. When threatened the mimic, octopus can hide most of its body and leave only a few banded arms exposed. Those arms can move in a way that resembles a sea snake. In the original observations, researchers saw this display while territorial dam shellfish were attacking the octopus. That detail matters because sea snakes can prey on small reef fish. So the octopus was not just creating another strange shape. It was producing a form that could be especially useful against the animals attacking it. This is one of the strongest clues that mimicry may be context-dependent. Different threats may trigger different displays. And that leads to a much bigger question. Is the mimic octopus actually choosing which disguise to use? Does it know which disguise to use? This is where the story becomes much more interesting. The sea snake display suggests that the mimic octopus may not use its disguises randomly. Researchers observed this behavior while dam shellfish were attacking the octopus, and a sea snake is exactly the kind of predator those fish have a reason to avoid. That makes the timing difficult to ignore, but we still have to be careful with what this means. We do not know if the octopus consciously looks at an attacker and decides which animal to copy. The response could be instinctive or triggered by specific visual signals. It could even involve experience and learning. What the observations do suggest is that different situations can produce different displays, so the mimic octopus may be doing more than simply changing its appearance. It may be matching that appearance to the threat in front of it. This is where the famous number starts to fall apart. The mimic octopus is often described as an animal that can imitate 15 or even more different species. You can find lists that include jellyfish, sea anemones, stingrays, mantis shrimp, brittle stars, and many others. But the original scientific study was much more careful. Researchers recorded many unusual shapes and behaviors, yet they could confidently identify only 3 clear models: a flatfish, a lionfish, and a banded sea snake. That does not mean the other disguises are fake. Some may be real, and later observations may support them. The problem is that resemblance can be subjective. One unusual posture may look like one animal to one observer and something completely different to another. So the famous number of 15 is better understood as a collection of reported or proposed disguises, not 15 equally proven forms. So why would an octopus evolve such an extreme form of deception? The answer may be hidden in the environment where it lives. Mimic octopuses often move across open, sandy, and muddy seafloors with very few rocks or corals nearby. There are not many places to disappear when a predator appears. Camouflage can help while the octopus stays still, but hunting forces it to move across these exposed areas during the day, and movement makes camouflage much less effective. Mimicry could solve that problem in a different way. Instead of becoming invisible, the octopus can make a predator think it is looking at something dangerous or simply not worth attacking. We cannot know exactly why this behavior first evolved. But on an open seafloor, even a few seconds of confusion could make the difference between escaping and being caught. But all of this deception is not only about escaping predators. The mimic octopus is also an active hunter. During the day, it moves across the seafloor, searching for small fish and crustaceans hidden in the sand or inside narrow burrows. Its long, flexible arms can reach into places where most predators cannot follow. The octopus can probe holes and search through the sediment while keeping most of its body outside. This creates an interesting trade-off. Hunting gives it access to food, but it also forces the octopus to leave cover and expose itself on the open seafloor. That may be another reason why such unusual defensive behavior is so useful. The same flexible body that helps the mimic octopus catch prey can also change shape in seconds when the hunter suddenly becomes the hunted. Final verdict. So does the mimic octopus really become other animals? Not literally. What it does is even more interesting. It combines color, body shape, arm position, and movement to create the illusion of completely different creatures. 3 disguises are especially well supported by scientific observations: a flatfish, a lionfish, and a banded sea snake. Many more have been reported, but the famous claim of 15 or more animals is much less certain. And the most fascinating part may not be the number of disguises at all. It is the possibility that the octopus changes its display depending on the situation it faces. We still do not fully understand how that works. But the mimic octopus clearly does much more than simply hide. It can change the way other animals perceive it. And that leaves one final question. What is more impressive to you? The fact that the mimic octopus can imitate other animals at all, or the possibility that it may choose a different disguise depending on the threat? Tell me which part of its behavior surprised you the most.